I'm chasing. I think my mind's told me that there's a certain level of like high or drunk or something that I could get, but I think I actually just fabricated it myself. So because I never am satisfied when I'm doing whatever that I'm fucked up enough most of the time, unless it's multiple substances, because it's like, whoa, that's a lot, I can't do that no more. So it's like, if I drink, I gotta smoke too. If I just drink, I have to drink so much to get drunk enough. It's like, I'm never satisfied. I'm like, I think I'm just lying to myself. So I think it's just the thing. You like convince yourself that you're like trying to get to a certain point, but you never reach it. It's like you just convince you to keep going further before you're like, no, just one more shot. Just one more.
Brittany and I actually tried to drink when we were taking that little tea break, and it was so weird.
Just being like drunk,
just drinking alcohol and not smoking weed with it. We were like,
yeah. I don't know many substances without weed anymore, and it's weird to imagine that they're not like any substance. If you cut out like weed, it's different. So it's like, how many substances do I actually don't know how they affect me anymore? Because I always have them with weed.
Right. That's why I've been like, I've genuinely, and I hate to say this, genuinely have been being called to reduce my weed intake.
That's fair.
Because I feel like I've gotten to a point where I've healed a lot. I've let go of a lot of baggage, and my vibration keeps getting higher. And then sometimes my vibration is higher than weed, essentially. And I'll smoke weed and it'll bring me down, and it'll reduce my motivation and drive.
Yeah, I think
I hate admitting it because it's hard to break. But microdosing has been helping me.
Well, I was gonna say microdosing is what made me realize that happened, because whenever I was in a high headspace, like how it affected me, and that's actually typically how I gauge on a self-awareness like level. I'll gauge like how depressed I am. Because if I'm depressed, I can smoke all day long, not really feel that high and want to keep smoking. If I am in a really high headspace, I don't really want to smoke much, so just a little bit. I take
one hit and
I'm like, whoa, I feel it. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But if I'm depressed, I'll smoke one. I just feel like,
and because weed ultimately is a Band-Aid for your feelings.
Yeah. So it's like, that's how I'll know. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm just going through a period right now where I'm trying to process a lot of things, because I am.
That's hilarious, because before I came to the realization, I was like, oh, I need to like reduce my weed. I guess 2 months ago, I was in this period where I would just get really high at night and take a lot of dabs. And then I would wake up the next morning, and the first thought on my mind would be like, can't wait to take a dab, can't wait to get high. It's because I was just feeling so much was being brought up, and like, and I had done all this energy work, and also in January, I was like, I don't want to recognize myself in 6 months. Don't know why I asked for that, because a life transformation has been happening this year.
Yeah. I learned to be careful with wording to the universe. That's what I said in 2019. I can't live like this anymore, or I'm going to kill myself. What happened? Oh, did life happen?
You ain't got a choice.
You
can't live like that.
So, all right, well, if you can't live like this, then you got to live a different way. We got to bring that to you. And I'm like, actually, I don't know if I asked for the right thing. Like, maybe I should have asked for.
It's kind of like making a wish with a genie in a bottle.
Yes,
you gotta make sure you're fucking. Like,
literally, that's how I felt about yesterday. Because yesterday when I woke up, I was like, "Oh my god, it's such a good day." And then I woke up today with the service, like the serve like papers, and I looked at it and I was like,
"Oh, she got served today."
And like I looked at it and I was like, It took me a second, and I was like, universe, when I said I would love to have a break, I meant like more than a day, but I didn't clarify. I just said, give me a break from how it's been the past few weeks. I got that break for a day. I was like, maybe like a week next time. Let's try to aim for like a week.
I could feel the stress through your text message. You're like, I am trying to breathe.
Because like, you don't understand. I opened my eyeballs. I looked at my phone, and Mike said, I think you might be being sued, ? Because he didn't know what it was yet. And I said, huh? I got up and I went to go pee.
See, that's why I stopped checking my phone first thing in the morning.
Because, like, I was like, well, at first I checked it because I was looking to see if you messaged me. Because I knew I was like, okay, text her and, like, tell her I'm awake now or whatever because I was, like, sleeping because of whatever.
I woke up, checked my phone one time, and someone had died. I said, all right.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not the best because I straight up, I was sitting on the toilet. Sam comes in and he's like, I don't know exactly what this is, but I don't know. You might be being sued. I said, what? And he just hands me the paper and he's like, I'm sure everything's gonna be fine. I don't really understand what it wants you to do. Read these papers.
Right. I was reading it.
Not clarifying shit.
No,
none of the pages
a bunch of
clarify
gibberish,
anything.
honestly.
And I just stared at it and I was like, every page I turned, less clarification. I was like,
I'm somehow more confused.
Yeah.
Than when
all I understood was that for future reference, guys, if your car gets repoed, they're still gonna charge you. It's not free.
They're going to sell your car
and then charge you what they didn't
the difference
make.
of what you owed. So let's say you owed 20 grand on it and they sell your car for 12 grand. There's a difference of 8. That's still pinned on you and you don't have a car.
And if you don't pay it within a year, they add fees. So originally
just constantly fucks you.
They added literally like $1,300 worth of fees because I never paid it. And I was like, what? You took the car. I didn't. So that was great. And so I was like, that's a morning starter.
That is a morning starter.
It was already like 2 p.m. So it was just a weird start to the day.
Just like it's a weird start to this episode. On that note, guys, episode 15 of the Ethereal Podcast. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dom.
Saige.
And yeah.
Their Ethereal Podcast. Is that the
I don't think that's even close.
Family Feud. What are you doing? When you go on stage, they're
yes.
And they're just like clapping all happy. And they're like introducing themselves like, this is the Johnson family. First up is Saige.
You need to stop because I'm seeing this all in my head.
I used to want to do Family Feud so bad.
I can't.
Can we
Me
do Family
too.
Feud? I feel like they do family like all kinds. You can do like because
out.
when they do Family Feuds with groups, it's not just families anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So we could be like, let's make a group, and we can like pick some people who are like Family Feud, and you go up there and you're like, Dom, what's the answer? You click in, it's like number 2 on the board, and we're like, way to go, Dom!
I love you so much.
Or like we bing the buzzer. Bernie's like, what is the answer? And she says it, and they're like, do you want to play or do you want to send it over? She's like, we're gonna play.
I'm just gonna let her keep going.
It's just so real to me right now. Like I'm there.
No, I haven't. That was good.
I don't know why I started clapping and that just happened, but
you're gonna be clapping in their ears and you're gonna be like, what's going on?
They're gonna be like,
why is she
they'll
clapping?
hear it though. After the first couple claps, they'll be like,
Probably so. We'll add Vic to add the Family Feud.
Yes! Doing the intro as soon as it starts. Like, instead of the normal intro of the like the cool music, just a
Wait, am I watching Family Feud or the Ethereal Podcast? Jesus Christ.
I'll do the audio for it if it's copyrighted.
Oh my God.
Let me know if you need it sampled.
Oh my God. That would be a loop in hell just listening to that.
Can you imagine? I'm just like, she needs it and I'm just like record it for her. It's just for hours. She's just and it's not even the real one, it's me doing it.
I'd cry.
It'd be great. I feel like it would be magnificent.
It would be something. It would be something.
It would get people in the present moment.
Oh I know you did not just segue it like that.
It would make them pay attention. They'd be like, what?
Are y'all paying attention? Are you being present? That is what today's episode is going to touch on. Being in the present moment, living in the present moment. A lot of the times we're disassociated from life, guys. We're in the like robot mode, just going through the motions. And it's really hard to break out of that trance, if you want to call it. But lately, being present has been a huge thing for me that I've been working on. And more throughout the day, I'm finding myself just completely present and not living in this mind's realm, whereas I used to completely just kind of live in that mind space, and like life wasn't existing out here externally, it was existing in here. And like, yes, I think to an extent it exists in here because everything you see in your own unique perspective. However, it needs to be, like you say, with the whole dream world, it needs to be like
balanced.
you know?
Yeah, the duality of body and mind.
So
see, I started I always was bad about being in my head, as one would imagine. Just period. One, I didn't do anything growing up but write fanfic and creative writing. So I was always in my mind,
like completely in your head.
Completely in my head.
You're not
also,
even like present at the time that you're fapping.
Yeah. Did you say fapping?
No, I switched the first letter of 2 words, and I do that a lot. It was the fact that you're typing, but I said facting. I don't know.
Fapping, like checking off. I was like, what?
That'll throw a wrench in it. But creative writing.
Yeah, a lot of creative writing. And on top of that, I also had undiagnosed DID. So I was very heavily in my mind. And most of my alters didn't have a life that was really only had life in our mind's realm in creative writing. Right. So it can be very like tricky when I first started to like get myself out of my mind. As stupid as it sounds, I did a lot of I call them preschool hacks, where they're like really simple things to like treat you like a toddler, to like get you into habits. So I've said the one before, you know, about like when I was trying to be more positive, but when it came to like getting out of my head, I just started to be like where I would schedule, like I'd be like, all right, for the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna be in my head, and I would put a timer. So when that 10-minute mark came, it would go off and it would get me out of it. And enough time doing that, after I'm in my head for a certain amount of time, my brain goes, let's take some few breaths. Because I trained myself to start being like, whoa, let's take some breaths. We've been in our head for a while. So it's like, it's just about, I think we were, I think we were talking about
you get so in your head sometimes, and if you're in the fearful side of it, you're literally just not breathing. Yeah. But yeah, routine versus habit.
I watched let me find that video so I can tell who it's by. But watched a routine versus habit video, and he was saying like all a habit is a routine that you've done so that it subconsciously triggers you to do whatever it is.
Right.
So he's like, if you wake up, like first like me, like if I wake up and I go outside and do barefoot grounding as soon as I wake up, my brain goes, all right, next we sage the house, then we meditate, because it's just the routine that I've created. He's like, so you just have to create like either an environment or time that will trigger the habit. And so he's like, so it's like teaching you how to build routines in a way that will trigger it to be a habit later on.
Right.
And it is really like, it's fascinating because that's how we work. So when you understand that, like, it's really interesting. Let me go to my history because it is a good video.
That is really cool. While you find that, I'll talk about one that I actually watched today. Called Stop Meditating and Start Being Present. It was a TED Talk by Peter McCowan. I don't know how to say his last name. That's going to be fun saying people's names in the future.
Yeah, I was about to say, because spiritual people got some names. I don't know what it is. They're never just John Smith.
Those are CPUs.
They're not real people. They're not real people. John Smith.
No, but
John Smith, you out there, I love you.
All of them. All the John Smiths in the world. No, but so being present, this guy was just talking about how we have like, we disassociate through a lot of things, whether it's like the yoga that we do, going to the gym, this, that, and the other. We get obsessed with these things that kind of help us disassociate and get away from what he called the freshness of life. And it's like that, you know, you feel like you've discovered this whole new view and outlook on the world, and you've got this freshness, and like everything's intense, everything's emotional, and we don't want to like experience that all the time, or we can't, so we go disassociate until we come back to the next freshness of life. So I don't know if I particularly explained that the way that he did, but the way that he said it made a lot of sense. So I hope that made sense.
Fair.
But basically, he also was talking about how meditation instead of it being a preventative method and measure, it is a recovery method.
Mm-hmm.
And that, so it's like it's always with you and you're just returning to yourself. So like you're always in this calm state of being, but sometimes things will happen and you'll get out of it. And so you bring yourself back to you return back to yourself.
Right, your true self.
Your true self, this calm, present being of awareness. So that hit really hard. I liked that a lot. And here's the thing that he really said that like hit home. He was like, a lot of the times we're afraid more of our own minds rather than external stimuli.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Sure. Hold up. Because if that does not explain my life, because literally this morning I told Brittany, I was like, this is after I had a like intense meditation. I told her, I was like, I have been so fearful of all of these things in my life, and fear has basically run my mind's operation. But recently I've been forcing myself to do all of these things that I'm afraid of, and literally not a bad thing has been happening. Like it might be slightly uncomfortable here and there.
Yeah.
It might like
it is in
but
I read somewhere where they say that like obviously it's not always the case. There is some like justifiable fear, but we'll say like,
oh, of course,
the fears that you may deem like unjustifiable for yourself. A lot of times they say like the fear, use that fear for like what it truly is and not what humans tell you it is. The feeling of fear sometimes is actually just like excitement misread. It's like, this seems really, really fun, but it's scary because I've never done this before. So it seems like, oh my God, I'm so scared to do this. Like I was always so afraid to sing and talk in front of people because I wanted to do it so bad that I was afraid if I did it wouldn't work. So I didn't do what I really wanted to do because fear told me something and I just listened to it because I thought I was scared to do it. I didn't want to do it.
So crazy.
But it's like, no, I just was afraid because I wanted it so bad that I was afraid of it. It's like, it's a funny concept. You will not believe. I found the fucking video. Not believe how I'm going to pronounce this. I love this channel. Kurzigasat.
Maybe you should just put the name of the video.
Change your life one tiny step at a time. And he talked about how life you're going through. Essentially, you have your logical like mind, which I call is like your mind, and then he refers to it as like your toddler self, which I think is the body. So he says like, you base off of like what you want, and you go back and forth, but you have to use them together. And so that's why routine and habits work, because the routine is set up by your logical mind and the habit takes on by your toddler that understands that's what we do. So habits come because you taught your toddler what to do. You taught your younger self what to do. So it's a habit because you learned that. Yeah, it's really
just by
good.
watching, essentially.
So you do it enough, it's like you understand.
By just observing.
So then your subconscious starts to do it because it understands. Yeah, so it's a process.
Our subconscious are toddlers.
Yes. I say it all the time. I'm like, because it's your inner self, and your inner self never ages, so you're a child. This quote that someone said, I have goosebumps. Me too. This quote someone said that they say in it that I do also like and want to share is change is a direction, not a destination. And it's very valid because
it is a direction. You're just changing your direction.
For a long time, like when I didn't
there shouldn't be a destination.
There really shouldn't. I had a lot of destinations, and when you have destinations, why pick a destination if you're not even like on the road? You don't have a GPS. Just see where you end up.
Literally,
there's no fucking GPS. So you're gonna end up somewhere. But if you tell yourself I have to end up here, but you don't have a GPS, when you don't end up there, you're disappointed.
Especially if you're not. That doesn't align with.
Yeah, but it's like
your highest good, greatest good, whatever.
It's like you weren't supposed to go there. Like you were supposed to be here, but you convinced yourself this is a bad thing because it wasn't
right. I'll segue that. So like, there's not supposed to be a destination. You're not supposed to have a goal, but you can have a goal of like a destination of having a certain type of attitude.
Yes.
Because what Peter was talking about in the TED Talk, he was talking about having a regal attitude. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I had to Google what regal meant. I was like, what exactly?
No, I have a guess, but I'm guessing it's wrong because it doesn't make sense. Like I've been trying to think of it. I was like regal attitude, like a lawyer.
See, that's not. I was thinking movie theaters. I was like, what?
What does regal mean?
No. Right. I looked it up, and it's synonyms for it are like majestic and like being magnificent. And so you want to have this attitude of like everything is like this magnificent,
excited,
majestic kind of attitude. Like the destination being that feeling and that attitude, and being able to come back to it when external stimuli throws you out of that.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of like that.
I can't believe I thought it meant something to do with a lawyer. That's very wrong. I was like, regal attitude. Go in there like you might. In my head, I was like, go in there like you know what you're saying. You're confident. No one second guess you.
Well, that could be magnificent because that's one of the.
I mean, sure,
being magnet. That was.
But
it's essential. It's
in my brain.
It was
I was imagining a lawyer.
It was a little different.
Yeah.
Okay, so the quote at the end that he said that like I really liked was, I want you guys to really listen to this because this like really, this was so good. He said, when you get pissed off or angry, allow that as a prompt to wake you up out of the trance of primally organizing reality as a threat. It's not always a threat. Usually that's in our minds. So it's like our primal instinct, fight or flight, respond to
very
threats.
Like reactive.
Very reactive. So use it as a prompt to learn and to grow and to get out of that, primal instinct of everything being a threat, because it's not. Most of the time it's not.
I kind of similar to that, like what I've been doing more recently, like when something like makes me mad and I didn't even realize like how he's saying like this is what I was like doing, but on a subconscious level I wasn't like thinking of it that way. But it was just me being like, every time I was like angry, like I would feel the anger and a lot of times I was like run with it. But more recently I've been trying to like stop and be like, why are you angry? And I'll answer it. I'm like, no. Why are you angry? I'm like, don't say it's because like someone had an attitude. No. Why are you angry? I feel really disrespected. Like they don't respect me as a human. That's why you're angry. Mm-hmm. And so it's helped me be like, oh, I totally misread this.
It's not about what they did. It's about how you feel.
Yeah. And so like, it's like, oh, they weren't meaning to come across like they're saying, I don't know anything and like, fuck her. They just meant, I already know that. It's okay. You don't have to tell me. But like, I would be like, I mean, I was just going to tell you what it hurt. But it's like, well, if they already know, why you don't have to. You're wasting. Yeah, it's like you're wasting time. It's like, but it's like when your first reaction is like, well, they don't need me. They don't want me to help. It's like, that's not what they're saying. They're saying that they already know. And so it's like trying to like that catch of being like, why? Because it is like my subconscious thinking it's a completely different situation.
Exactly. And you're thinking that way because there's something unhealed inside of you. And Sarah Hudson posted on her story the other day. She was like, be thankful for your triggers because they point you to what's not healed.
Yeah. Your triggers do let you know.
And I was like, that was crazy.
I hate it. It is annoying, but there are times where someone will trigger me. And I'm like, why did that trigger me? And I'll think about it. I'm like, oh, I must be dealing with this
at this point. Yeah, I do. They're rough sometimes.
Yes, I am very grateful for them because after it's over, it's better. But I hate the process of trying to find, and I'm sure, I feel like this has got to be the same for everyone. I don't think it's just a DID thing, but I hate when I'm trying to figure out like what it is that I like, whatever. It's like, okay, this happened. I'm getting triggered. I need to find like the memory. Mm-hmm. You want me to remember something that happened in my early life? Not all of us have memory like that.
No, a lot of the time.
And I'm like, like some alters have great memory. Mm-hmm. For the most part, it's very fragmented. So I'm just like, is it? I'm like, but imagine it's kind of like that for everybody. It's not like you just remember every trauma.
Here's my theory on that. You repress things, right?
Yeah.
So obviously they're repressed for a reason. They're painful.
Yeah, it's like,
and so when they come out in these triggers, you're like, whoa, something's there. Don't know where it is. Don't know what it is. Don't know how to find it. I'll give you a little key of how to get those to come up. Breath work.
Yeah.
Breathing exercises. Because like, if you do it long enough, that breath work exercise, that technique, you keep doing it and all of a sudden you'll start getting flashbacks or you'll start feeling these things, and like you'll just think of it.
Mhm.
Like, you know, for you don't have the images, but you'll know. You'll immediately
I was like, I don't
find
know.
the
Like, when the memory
experience
hits,
that was
it
the root
hits.
cause. Like it just hits like that. So when you do these breathwork techniques and you are activating the amygdala and you are opening up the Pandora's box of trauma repressed in the brain.
Treasure chest
of trauma. Trauma.
box.
But
Trauma chest.
so that, you know, and slowly over time, as you uncover each trigger and you heal each trigger, you develop this regal type of attitude because it allows you to tolerate anxiety and intensity. So it's like, that was another thing that he was saying in the video. Like, that's like a superpower, being able to tolerate uncomfortable, anxious situations and intense situations. Like, people that can function and work through that, like, that's impressive. Like, wow. Like, you are
like, that's,
you know,
something. You're doing the work.
Doing the damn
You're
work.
doing the work. I don't know if I did the work because I can't, but one day.
Yeah. But a little tip for you guys. Whenever you find yourself like anxious or like experiencing intense feelings and you're just like all worked up and you're in your head, ask yourself, is there an actual threat right now? And a lot of the times asking yourself that question will throw that wrench into it, like, oh, hey, I'm not actually in any danger. That's just my mind creating this.
That is really valid. Yeah, because that's like the same thing as like, it's the same concept as if something bad happens, but there's something you can do in that moment to fix it. What you tell yourself is, there's something I can do right now to fix it. It's the only thing I can do is not worry about it. It's the same thing.
It was just like you when you got served this morning. It was like, dude, you just had to freak.
Yeah,
there was
just
no
like,
immediate threat.
Yeah,
there,
I was like freaked out a little bit because I was like, what am I going to do? But after, I was just like, well, there's nothing I can do today, so I'm just gonna have to continue on my day like it didn't happen until I get further along on what to do there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's kind of the only thing, because I have been notorious, like growing up, especially in the teens, to, I believe most people are like this. Your body is like this because your body doesn't know good and bad, because there isn't good and bad to your body. Your body gets addicted to whatever you're feeling. So if you're someone who grew up always anxious and sad, your body's addicted to it. So like, I have to like when this happened this morning, your body's addicted to being sad and that's why, and angry. Like, it's why you keep, things will trigger you and you're like, I don't even know why I'm being angry today, because your body's like, I want to be angry. We haven't felt that in a while. It's just like, your body doesn't understand.
My God, you just...
Yeah, it's a very like, your body is an addict. It doesn't know. Like, it's addicted to the emotions. And so like, when something bad happens, like that happened this morning, I started sobbing. And then I had this realization where I was like, is there something you can do about it right now? I was like, no. And it's like, okay, so what are you going to do? My immediate thought, I was like, I'm going to sit here and cry and just be upset all day long.
For what reason?
And I was like, why? What is that going to do?
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm like, don't you think that you could, in theory, go do the podcast, and if you come home, you could cry tonight if you want to be sad, but why do your whole day? And I'm like, oh, because part of me wanted to feel it and sit in it because it's used to that. It knows that, and it's comfortable with that. Your body, if your body doesn't have good and bad, your body just knows we always get this chemical. All of a sudden, we don't get it. What the fuck's going on? Your body is just trying to bring
it's used to that habit.
Stasis. Exactly. Your body's just trying to go to its homeostasis. It doesn't understand that its homeostasis is damaging the mind.
Oh, this is mind-blowing for me right now. Like, I'm having an actual revelation because, like, I don't know, when I was having one of my big mindset shifts, I was like, when I learned about, like, the self-programming voice inside of your head, and I was struggling with, like, I would just like always degrade myself in my mind. Like, I was like, you are such a word, like, shit.
Because
like,
part of my body likes feeling like shit. I
had
feeling degraded.
I was like,
sad.
I was like, why am I continuing to do this to myself when I know?
It makes you feel like shit.
And it makes me feel like shit. And like, I'm like, I asked myself, I was like, do I like this? Do I like this? And it's like, yes, well, your body, like, it does, essentially.
It's like, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, for instance,
but I have definitely
there are people, I've gotten a lot better,
point.
but like, even let's reference here, like, I talk about like the psychology with like BDSM, I'll lightly touch with this, is that when I was very, very self-deprecating and in very low view of myself, what did I like? I wanted you to degrade me.
I just had a realization.
I wanted that.
Oh
I wanted
my God.
So I understood that I was channeling. So that's why I say BDSM is usually, and if it's done in a consensual, safe, legal way, it's very therapeutic.
Right.
Because it allows your body to feel the things it's used to feeling without the threat. So that's why it can be very beneficial, because you're able to get that part of you to feel what it wants to feel without it damaging your real life.
Right. So like, I feel like I was degraded throughout my childhood. Maybe not so much by parents, but like friends and peers and stuff like that. And like sexually, if you said something mean or fucked up, I would cry. Like I did not like being degraded. That was not, but I would do it to myself, and like my inner voice did that. And so like I was, hell no, that was not okay with me.
This is too
but
much.
I've been healing that, and I talk nice to myself, and I'm like, you can call me a fucking dirty
I'm like,
bitch.
Yeah, like call me whatever. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, let me
like, it's so fucking funny.
Stop.
Like, it really,
I was screaming. I was genuinely screaming, realizing that. I was like, do I like to be degraded now?
Oh yeah, I've looked one time, like I was really like beating myself up by myself, and I looked myself in the mirror, and I was like, like I just stared at myself, and I was like talking like degrading to myself, and I was like, is that what you wanted? Go do it. It's like, go do what the fuck I said, because if you're not listening to me when I'm being nice, and what I do it. I'm like, no, I'm like, you're not supposed to do it only when I'm mean.
It's the programmed voice.
Yes, my program's just like, it's like, until you mean that I gotta do it or there's a consequence, no. I have to threaten myself to do things.
That is so funny.
Like, it's hilarious.
So
really.
funny.
So your body like thrives off of what it like knows feeling wise. So it's why like when people first start being happy, they're uncomfortable because they don't know, they're not used to being happy. So happy feels wrong.
Right.
Because your body doesn't know good and bad. So you have to teach it that that's good and what they have is bad.
Yep. That is so wild. It's so crazy the way it works. So crazy. And it's like just how people say like getting out of a toxic relationship is also a form of healing too, because you have to unlearn how to not be in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
But another thing that this guy said in the TED Talk, he was like, problems are a form of entertainment. We are bored without something to do or fix, and we aren't comfortable sitting without the noise of life, the marketplace.
My therapist told me that.
Literally.
My therapist was like, I think you're bored. And I was like, what? And he was like, you talk to me about stuff a lot. He's like, but what you talked to me about today, he's like, I find that you're bored. And I was like, what? And he was like, I think that you're so bored that in the past week, you searched for anything that is a problem that can be fixed because you were so bored, you wanted something to do. He's like, and you're a fixer and you like to help people. So you were trying to fix, so you hyper-focus on all the wrong things because you were bored. I was like, he's like,
and that's when you have to learn how to like sit in your boredom and like
let yourself be bored.
Creativeness and like let your creative juices.
So let yourself sit there and be like, I'm so bored.
Literally, I danced for the first time, like obviously not the first time in my life, but like
first time ever. It's illegal to dance with that footloose.
Bitch. What? Is
it illegal to dance with footloose?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're like, hey, no dancing in our town, and he's all like, footloose. I
don't think I've seen the movie.
I don't either, but I'm pretty sure I know the plot. I probably read it. You know, I read movies. I don't watch a lot. I read shows and movies. But watching them, that's a longer commitment. I can read fast. I'm pretty sure they make it illegal. And Kevin Bacon is like, shoo, I'm young and styling. And he's a dancer. And he's like, we dance in our town. I'm telling you, I'm going to look it up because I swear to God, it's illegal to dance.
Anyways, bitch, I was dancing.
Not even porn open.
Love that. I think it's called contemporary.
Moving to Chicago, newcomer Ren is in shock when he discovers that the Midwestern town he calls home has made dancing and rock music illegal.
That's the plot. You've never seen this?
No, but I read it. Because I wanted to know who Kevin Bacon was and why he was so relevant. Because he's ugly. That was mean. See, you gotta correct your auto self.
Our auto selves are fucking mean sometimes. But anyway, let's see if I can tell the story now. Contemporary dance.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, when I've been meditating and like doing a lot of my energy work, I literally just want to move my body in all of these weird ways and like flail around kind of, but like in a graceful way. And yesterday I was like sitting there and I think I watched a video of someone dancing and I was like, you know what? When I get home, I'm going to go into the backyard. I'm going to put my AirPods in. I'm going to put on some funky Ellis Dream and I'm just going to move my body. Like I'm just going to dance. And like, I actually like, I recorded a little video of myself. Like I actually look pretty decent. So now I'm like inspired to like create some dance moves and YouTube some dance moves and like learn them.
That's
whatever.
Fair. I said I wanted to be a dancer one time, so maybe we can learn together. We'll make a dance for the podcast.
We just can't do anything that requires rhythm because like I don't know, the rhythm just ain't it for me. Brittany was like, can you find the beat in the song? And I was like, no, I think like the auditory processing for me is just like cannot pick out
so
BPM and
you can be the creative one, being like, this is the move. And I go, okay, you got to do it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll pick the timing. You pick the moves, and we'll make the Ethereal Podcast official dance.
We can try. Oh god!
I like a cha-cha slide.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god! But it was very freeing, and I was just like so in the moment and just like feeling the energy, and like I was literally grinning from ear to ear. Like I was so happy. I was like, this is amazing. So like, yeah, guys, go dance. It feels nice. It's good cardio too. I was sweating. I could only dance like 4 songs. I was like, I gotta go inside. It's
Dude,
hot.
I put in this had to be back in 2020. I made in my morning routine back in 2020 for a period of time. I had 30 minutes singing and dancing. So for 30 minutes, I picked what songs for the 30-minute like time and turned the playlist on, and I either had to sing or dance.
I bet that made you feel great.
Oh, it was truly something. I also like, you know, when you like dance enough days doing the same shit, you start doing weird stuff. So a few days in, honestly, was all it took for I was doing weird shit. Like Sam look at me like first thing in the morning, I'm like, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, dancing. He's like, I don't know if that's dancing.
I was in a little.
Yeah, you gotta do something like. I've been pretending I'm in
yeah.
What's that dance movie? Curly brown hair moose does a dance in the rain. It was really popular.
I didn't really watch a lot of dance movies. Was it like the series?
Step Up, maybe?
I think.
I feel like Step Up has like 5 movies, and if so, then that's it.
Yeah, I think
because
something like that.
Why did I bring that up?
The one where they had that really awkward high school scene where she's like dancing around him, and he's
that's Bring It On.
Oh,
where you're like, show us your krumping, and she's like,
yes.
You're like, what?
Yes.
She's like,
Anyways, what about Step Up?
Oh.
Nope.
That was just what I felt like.
Yeah.
I felt specifically that scene with Moose in the water. Now, any people that watch that movie and know that scene, they know what I'm talking about. The rain's falling on him. His curls are drenched. He's soaking wet, and he's just spinning. He's doing all kind of dance moves. That's what I feel like.
That's how I
am Moose in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm a professional.
You know the little move that like street dancers and stuff will do, or like break dancers, where they like squat down on the ground real quick and like crisscross applesauce position, but then they like come back up. Yes, I was doing it.
Probably
maybe not perfect, but I was doing it yesterday. I said that's on mobility training.
Yeah,
for
I'm
your
like
knees
the combination
of
my knees and lower back is like, girl, we got a while before we can do that one day.
You'll get there.
I'm like, oh, girl, you'll get
take
you a minute, girl.
Yeah. I think we got a little off topic.
Oh yeah, what are we
You're
talking
supposed to
about?
be present.
We were teaching people how to dance. You know, if you don't know how to dance, bring it on. Krumping, look it up. Moose, Dancing in the Rain, look it up. Honestly, I encourage everyone to krump.
I don't even truly know what that is.
Any real krumpers are going to be upset probably because I'm not going to, probably don't have this correct, but from my knowledge, krumping is the act of, it looks like everyone's fighting, but they don't touch each other. So they're like, and they're doing like cool stuff, but I think it's very like jerky kind of like moves and stuff. I feel like that would be good for getting out anger. Krump with yourself in the mirror.
The word itself makes me think of like a bakery dessert.
Crumpet?
Yes.
Isn't that
That's
British?
probably why. I don't know.
Crumpet sounds British.
Probably
if it's not
is.
British. Who named it?
What
It's
is a
not
crumpet?
British. Let's see.
So is it a bakery good?
It sounds like a baked good. It says
Probably.
food. Yeah, it's a bread. You have it with tea.
Okay. Crumpets and biscuits.
What was I actually looking up before that though? Oh, krumping.
Oh.
Oh, it's spelled with a K, so I had that wrong to begin with.
Oh my god.
What is a krumping in dance?
I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
Okay, so I'm gonna say I think I'm accurate in my description because it was created in Detroit by someone who was like really big in like gang violence and drug culture. So in that environment in South LA, I do believe that I'm right whenever I watch that because I swear to God, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. No, it's a very aggressive.
Yeah, it
form
looks
of
very
dance.
like you're getting out something.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be
feel
good for
like-
anger. But look at yourself in the mirror and krump with yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're like upset with yourself, krump with yourself. It looks like you're hitting you. Like you're gonna
Bro.
feel things.
I saw this video of 7 healthy ways to release anger. And they were literally all like, one of them was like, you can do the horse lip thing where like, and so you're not angry anymore. And then the other one, it was like, you can stomp and fist on the ground.
Mhm.
I did that one time at work because I started
Yeah,
laughing at
that's
myself.
awesome.
I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. I was like, why are you even angry now?
Yeah, I do weird stuff to like.
Yeah, you can throw a
Usually
tantrum
it's
on the
loud.
bed. And like,
Yeah.
sob, scream. You can silent yell with your mouth open and just,
I'll put a pillow to my face and scream sometimes now.
yeah, you can do that too. But if you're like with someone that you're not trying to like
Do that for
scare,
it, yeah.
you know,
you could, but
yeah. But
I just make weird noises. Like it depends. My anger is either one of two ways. I'm either like want to scream into the pillow because I need to just get it out, and that feels like the way, or I acknowledge that the feeling isn't about to come out and it's still inside of me, so I need to make myself laugh
right.
because it's not ready to come out. So I'm just gonna be trying to force it out, and it's
Mhm.
not gonna come, and I'm just gonna be frustrated. So that's usually when I make weird noises or like try to laugh at myself. I like to laugh at myself at what made me angry a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
I do too. I like to clown myself sometimes now. But
In a loving way. As long as you clown yourself in a loving way,
there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's like not that, but the whole like releasing things and somatic healing. I feel like that's why I've been having the urge to dance lately. It's just like I'm throwing away all of this trapped energy that no longer serves me. It's like because a lot of it is just stored and trapped, and it isn't like some big trigger that I need to like cry over and process. It's just like all these little things that I'm just like, dude,
so
like
annoying.
Get
Yeah,
off me.
I've been doing like when you were saying how when you meditate, you've been having the feelings like move yourself. I have too. I haven't like
I feel
but
weightless.
Like yeah, like I've been doing like where I'll be like sitting like this, and then I'm like feeling, and I'll just be like doing like this.
Yes.
Like the whole time, I'm just like doing these like moving. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like moving.
Yep.
I'm like, I feel like it's like my spine feels stiff. I need to move it around.
You gotta move it. Yep. It's funny that Sam watches you do that, and then like Brittany, I do it in the backyard, and so she's got the big windows in the kitchen, so she's like making breakfast, and she'll look over, and I'm over here.
Oh yeah, sometimes I'll be sitting there like meditating, my eyes closed, and I'm just like, whoa, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I got a feeling in here. I gotta get it low." Like
we are so fucking weird.
If I feel something right here, you bet I'm gonna make a noise and I'm gonna bring that voice down until I feel it vibrate where that feeling is and get that shit out.
Mm-hmm. You gotta break it up. I like to do tapping.
Sometimes I'll do that. I'll go, But sometimes for fun, I'll make funny noise. I'll be, whoa.
That shit works. It works. You get that low, deep, and it's like, whoa.
Sometimes I like to play with like moving it up and down. So sometimes I'll play like, I'll go and I'm like, I want to feel it at the bottom of my spine. I'll just like do it until I feel like really, I'm like, I didn't know I could bring the voice that low. All right, back up.
So you sound like Dory.
Yeah, I was like,
Dory. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Literally. But yeah, I think that's all we got for y'all today.
It's like, I don't even know how long it's been.
Me either. Sometimes we just go.
We were too present. We didn't look at the time.
I would say we were very present. But like, just on that note, you guys deserve to live in the present moment and experience it for its fullest and get out of your heads. So whoever needs to hear this, get out of your head, unplug your headphones, turn your phone off, go outside, go walk in some grass, go sit under a tree, go hug a tree. Hugging a tree is phenomenal if you've never done it in your life, but you grew up with your parents making fun of tree huggers.
Yes. Oh my God.
Go hug a motherfucker.
I go out and talk to trees, hug trees, and I'm like, man, sometimes I know, because like it's right from my grandparents' house.
Trees and mushrooms.
I know they've seen me out there talking to that big tree out front, hugging that tree, crying. They probably they probably think I've lost my mind because I'm out there crying to a tree, but that tree been there for me.
Probably so.
That tree, I've been talking to that tree almost every day since 2020.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God. Before we end, I just want to share this because I feel like one, through healing my traumas, I have held a lot of like anger and unforgiveness towards my mom, and so I may not have said the nicest things about her in the podcast, and like I've validated myself, but I also need to have grace for her, and the microdosing has really like helped me come to a breakthrough. I went over and I saw her and like I grabbed her by the shoulders and I looked her in the eyes and I was like, I'm so sorry for the shit that I said, because I said it out of like anger and being hurt, and like I didn't mean it, and I love you, and like I want to fix and work on our relationship. So that was super cool. But
that's good.
Like I also was going off of like what Ram Dass says, like treat each person as if it's the first day you're meeting them, the first day like you're learning about them, because they deserve to have just as many chances as you do when it comes to growing and healing. And it's like
with everyone, it's like you don't even realize it. I mean, there is stuff like even with like me and Sam where like something happened and I'm like, why am I getting like weird about this in my head or whatever? And it's because I was assuming something was going to happen based off of things in the past. And so like it's even with like your friends and like not even just like family members. It's just like when someone does something and you assume they did it one time, so it's going to be that way forever. You've already set that tone. And so it's like,
do that.
Yeah, because you don't give them that fair chance, because everyone has bad days. There are days that I've done things that I cannot believe I did. I would have never thought I would have done ever in my life. And I have done them. So if I had someone that was in my life and said, if you fuck up one time, it's done forever, well, then I wouldn't have anyone, because everyone fucks up.
Yeah. Like,
and so it's a really like, it's hard, but the biggest thing is like, that's why when you recognize that there's someone that there's enough hurt that you don't want to be around them at all, you recognize that you need to heal, and with time it'll be easier.
Yeah,
because like even with like my dad, like I'm still not jumping through hoops to hang with them, but to be honest, it's because there's a lot going on in my personal life and I just don't feel like I know all the stress of things. But even with that, it's a lot easier now than it was like 2 years ago. Because 2 years ago, I acknowledged that I needed to separate to let myself start to try to heal. Because I never let myself heal.
Right.
Because I never let myself feel what I wanted to feel. Because I was like, oh, don't feel it. You
didn't even recognize it, didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
And that's how, like, I didn't realize there was all of this hurt and trauma there. And so, like, I was like, I was unaware of it, and so I really did have to take, and it's been a couple of years that my mom and I just like haven't been on the best of terms, and like I haven't seen her very often, and like we've gotten into tons of fights, more fights than we have had good conversations, and like I don't know, I feel like I'm finally, like, at some point you have to own everything that happened to you and process it and deal with it and stop projecting it onto other people.
Yeah.
Because that's all I was doing was projecting my hurt onto my mom because I wanted her to feel
like what
I felt.
did.
But my mom hasn't had an easy life.
Yeah, it's
my
like,
mom
no
has
one
been
does.
through some shit, dude. And like at the end of the day, I should have empathy and grace and compassion for her because she's a human being just like I am. Like she's been through hurt just like I have. And like she did all of these things because she didn't want us to experience the same hurt she did it as a child. So she just did it with the opposite extreme.
Like she just tried and just
but she tried her best. She really did. And like she was also a single mom financially, supporting 3 kids by herself basically. So you have to worry about the burdens of financial life and all that. So how are you going to be over here trying to teach your kid how to deal with emotions when you get home at 8 p.m. and like you got, so
not even really imagine the part that like older generations, especially, they really weren't told how to process their feelings. So
exactly. How can you teach something you don't even know in the first place? And my mom probably now in her life knows some of these things and has learned a lot of these things, but she certainly didn't when she was raising me. So how am I going to, and that's leads me into one last thing that I want to say is setting an expectation for somebody.
Dangerous.
You cannot do that because what is the definition of an expectation? It's basically like setting a goal for someone.
It's
how crazy and toxic does that sound?
It's giving them a final exam.
You're setting a goal for them, and you don't know if they have any of the tools or any of the information. You don't know what they're capable of. Yeah, exactly. They may not have ever even heard of that subject. Like you can't. So I've stopped setting any goals and expectations because when I was dealing with my hurt, I was like, I've learned all of this at such a young age. Why the hell didn't my mom? Well, she grew up in a different time. Dude, she didn't have the chance. So, but what you can do now is help her learn these things now. And you guys can grow together.
Yeah.
And like,
I had that thing too about like my age, like really like tripping me up where I was like, if I had this realization and
I'm 1,000 years old.
And I'm like, I don't understand this, like da. And then it was just kind of like, well, the reason why I do have the knowledge that I have now by default is because they fucked up enough that I had to learn for myself. So I wouldn't be as smart as I am right now had they not fucked up.
Just like you said, trauma is the building block to this reality.
I'll make a shirt like that.
That could be some of our merch.
I think
trauma is the building block to this reality.
Personality gang. But like it's true. I mean, I wouldn't be the person I am right now. I mean, when I was driving on the way here, so like my DID has been all over the place. And when I was on the way here, I was trying to like process who was like operating the mind and why, like which altar was like present and like processing like whatever. And I was realizing one of the things that really stirred about one of my altars, like when they came about, like early time. And I was like, damn, like I was like, why did I have to go to this? And it wasn't even anything that was like that crazy in comparison to like some of the other altars, but like it was just like, why did this have to like happen? And then I had this moment where I was just like, well, if that didn't happen, you wouldn't be here like talking to my altar. And I'm just like, well, I love you. Like I want you to be here. So I had to have that hurt at 10 or you wouldn't be here.
Right.
Like I wouldn't have this aspect of me that I find makes me way more well-rounded as a person because that part of me exists because that happened.
Right.
And so it's like, you have to like not be grateful for what happened, but grateful that you pulled through what happened on the better end.
Right. Question about DID. Can you ever have like, I guess personalities like merge or go away or not?
Yeah. So there are
essentially if it's the mind being so traumatized and fragmented, can it come back together? Is that?
I don't know if it can come back together as like a complete one. I feel like anything is possible. I feel like it should be a system itself. So I think that is very valid. I don't know if people do like how it is for me. Like it was very, very fragmented. Then it started to be where like I could coexist, where I knew that there was more than one altar and I could hear what was going on instead of just one at a time. And then like there are certain altars, so like I know that they exist, but because I've really worked at what triggered them and what happens to them. I know that they exist in the catalog, but there's something that makes them have to come forward. So it's like, if you really need me, I'm here, but I don't have home here. Like, I don't have anything to do here anymore. So it's like, at this point, it's like there's a certain amount, of like alters that like I on a regularly basis, like who I deal with. And it's like recently it's been stuck between Kirsten and Oliver. And so they've just been going back and forth, and it's just been like, very fascinating to process, because there were times that like I didn't like Kirsten was blocked out for like almost like a year and a half.
I know. I remember you told me that. Has she been coming out more lately? Yeah,
because she's really. I've been trying to work on her since I realized that, because I blocked her out whenever we tried to so that was why she got kicked out of the system, because the system was going to die if she stayed there. So she left out of the system, which is why I was freaking out whenever I got back into nursing. So I was like, yo, I only have half my memory. Because like Kirsten and Oliver have always been my main two that I switched between. I just didn't realize.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh shit. Like, because when I first got out of it, my more feminine like presence it was another female alter, because Kirsten wasn't there. And Kirsten's like how my system is set up, there's masculine.
Do you hear actual voices, different voices in your head, or is it just kind of like a presence?
I guess it's kind of like a
Like, is your inner voice different per alter, or can you hear most of them collectively at the same time?
You know what? I will say that it's kind of like, it's just like a normal like thought, but I can feel who it is from their energy. Like a certain thought gives very different like energies. It's very like obvious. Like obviously, like if I'm sitting down and then I look down and I like get like weird, where I'm like, oh, I look really like feminine today. I'm like, oh, Oliver's like being triggered right now. So it's like stuff. And same thing if like I look at myself and I'm like, oh, I look fat. I'm like, oh, that's Kirsten. She always worried about her like weight. So it's like certain things that I'm like, I can tell who it is based off of like how their thoughts make me feel.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's fascinating. That, and just like I started to like learn what makes it easiest for me to know who's present other than like thoughts is actually like what I like. Because sometimes I can get overwhelmed and I can't hear my thoughts, but I can know based off of what I like, because they like different things.
Right.
So like Oliver would never sit down for a night and do the same thing that like Nixie, one of my feminine, would like. They would never do the same thing.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, if I want to do this, if I want to eat this thing right now, this comfort food, they each have a different comfort meal. So that comfort meal lets me know who it is. And it's like
so crazy.
It's weird.
I honestly can't even imagine functioning like that.
I can't imagine not functioning like this, honestly, because I thought this was normal. So I'm just like,
no, girl,
what's it like?
I got it. There's one.
I feel like,
only one.
Honestly, I feel like I know, like I tell myself all the time, I know there's a superpower to DID. I'm just gonna figure it out. And
I don't know, maybe there's not. Because sometimes I really do feel like I'm in different headspaces in a different person, but I don't know. I'm not going to dive into that right now.
I'm not going to rig into that one right now. It's a whole process of breaking down everything, like educating. Because everyone has fragmented pieces of themselves, because everyone has trauma, and that's all it is. Like trauma is what creates these fragments. So the only thing with like DID is that whatever personality was present, like Kirsten was the first personality that was given in this life, was the first like thing. Kirsten like felt very overwhelmed about being alone, always feeling like she'd be alone, worried that no one would like her, no one would protect her, no one would think she was beautiful. So what happened? Alter started being a form where she's not alone. She's never alone, because it was like different traumas brought it where I was like, I can't handle this. I don't know what to do. I can't protect myself. Let me create someone that will. And it's that early psyche of the mind fragmenting and saying, forget everything we know. We need a protector right now. So all you know is how to protect. And then they built memories after that point. It's like my my first like protector, like Damien.
Is.
Love him, asshole, but he's one of the ones that's like, I'm here if you need me, but I don't have purpose anymore. Like for the most part, but like the same thing. It was literally just like I was so afraid, and when Damien's present, there is no fear. It's like, why the fuck would I be afraid? What? Like, what are you talking
I've
about?
seen you.
I'm just like, it's like, it hits me where I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or it's like, almost like, how dare you think that I would not be able to, I can handle anything.
Damien is an asshole because you scary when Damien's, because I've had some conversations with you where I'm like, that's not safe.
Yeah, I tell people
that's like, I tell
people all the time,
scary.
like, oh, I'm like, yeah. It's like, I've gotten a lot better, like, for the most part. Like I tell people, for the most part, people are interacting with, like, the character of Sage. A lot of the times, there's, like, 3 alters that switch in the head of who's, like, narrating and playing Sage.
Right.
I guess. It's a weird concept. But it was easier for me to pick an identity that we all thought that was us evolved into one than like trying to like tell people every time like who the alter is and being referred to as that name in that moment, because I could switch fast sometimes. Like, I'll confuse the shit out of myself. And sometimes I don't realize who's presenting for a while, especially if I wake up like that. I hate when I wake up, because when I first wake up, it's very hard for me to know what's going on in my mind. And so it's just straight up where it's just like, take your time, we'll figure out.
It's like, all right, make yourself some tea.
It's like, we'll figure this out. Let us be awake for a while.
I bet that's hard. You got to bring yourself into the present moment first.
That's usually what I do. I'm like, all right, let's take some breaths.
Yep. And then it's easier to determine. I don't know if anyone that watches this has DID and has a similar experience, but I will say that meditation is something that shockingly, I was talking to Sam about this the other day, that is one of the happy triggers. You can trigger, so alters don't just come out from bad triggers. So you can create happy triggers for them. So I create happy triggers to help know who's better at certain things. I'll do certain things to trigger out someone because I know they're better. Like Nixie's the raver. So when I'm going to a rave, when I'm getting ready, I'm getting in that headspace. It's helping me like get to that point. Meditation, that's why like I try to meditate as soon as I wake up, because meditating right when I wake up heavily helps me pull back right when I wake up and go, hold up, remember, let's see who we're listening to today. Remember to listen. Just listen to him. It's not you. Listen. So I can try to like, because if I observer, because like if I don't remember that I'm an observer right early in the morning, you get very caught up. You get DID. Trapped. Yeah, like I've gotten very trapped in DID and not realizing what was going on for a while. And that you can also do that with just even if you don't have DID. Yeah. Like for me, waking up and grabbing my phone. If I wake up to something that's like a problem, something I got to deal with, dude, I'm like negative, and like a lot of times I can pull myself out of it instead of letting the whole day get negative. But like sometimes I just like so not present. Yeah. So like honestly, I go outside barefoot every single morning and ground myself and meditate. So it's very important. There hasn't been too many days recently where I've gotten in a shitty headspace and been stuck in it, because I'm fully bringing myself into the present moment right when I first wake up. And I'm like, okay, let's consciously make a decision on how today's going to go. And that's where the real power comes in. Sometimes. That's where like sometimes you can, sometimes it's like sometimes like girl, sometimes it's easier than others, but you can always do it. You can always give it your best try, because a 2% is better than a 0%. And if you argue that, you've never needed a 2% to pass. I don't know what you're talking about. 2% is big. 2% is big. Like your effort is appreciated much. Like it is. You don't think it is when you hear like if you're not doing 100, everything's you gotta be 110%. Fuck you. I'm gonna give it my current every day. Yep. I'm gonna give it my current best, because if anything gets my 100%, then I don't have anything left. So I'm gonna give it my best. It's the sass for me. I'm gonna give it my best. Exactly. And I'm gonna just try, and that's all you gotta do. If you give it your best try, things do work out usually. It's like it's the end. I feel like the tension really does matter in those situations. It's like, you're having a good heart about something, like it'll work out. I agree. It's all about the perspective and mindset going into things. Yeah. But yeah. All right. Now that's a wrap. I know we kept going for like 15 more minutes. That was crazy. I guess we weren't done yet. But yeah, we thought we were done, but then we started talking. This one might be a little long, but we hope you guys have a wonderful week. love and gratitude as always. I'm changing it from love and light. I think gratitude and love, it's two highest frequencies. And I started a 30-day gratitude challenge.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm on day 8, did it day 8 today. And honestly, monumental change. If you want to change your life in 30 days, do a 30-day gratitude challenge. And I mean, you got to sit there like homework and write down I am grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. You can't just say it out loud. You need to write it. There's a couple of ways to move energy. You can speak it. You can write it. And I think like physically moving your body is the other one. So
I use an app.
do that.
CBT Companion. Real quick, guys, if you want that. There's a gratitude check-in, and it'll ask you what you're grateful for today. And if you don't want to answer that question, you click it again, and they'll refresh and ask you like, what's something recently that you're grateful for? And it just so it gives you something to like visually see. And I'll try to do that right when I wake up.
That's good.
I'll try to go to the CBT Companion as soon as I wake up and try to like document like just even just like the grateful thing or like just a basic reflection, because it does like it
changes it
greatly affect the day.
It definitely does. So that's a very good thing. I'll probably download that after I finish my 30-day. Because for me, the writing it down with pen and paper instead of typing it is just like that much more powerful.
That's fair.
But I probably won't do that forever. I'll probably get the app. Look at
this is cool. I did the challenge automatic thought. It is really good because like you put the automatic thought and then you challenge it as you're going through it and you like break it down. You're like, oh wow, like it really does help. Like I found it to be like pretty cool. It's free.
That's awesome. I'm gonna go download that. But I hope we already said that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, peace out. Bye.